profit in the food business, the real money making, starts post the farmer having sold the product.
Correct.
That's where the real money starts.
Yeah.
You know, and the farmers have no control over that. Now, if the farmers can have some control over that value chain, only then they can earn surplus money. Otherwise, they will not be able to. If they are only selling their raw
produce,
then nothing will happen. So you have to be able to do some value addition before you are able to make any money. As I started getting involved, I realized as much as I didn't know, none of the people in Dharni also know. So we only know oddball things like, you know, things cost and then you sell it and then the thing, what is remaining is profit. Okay. So Ranjit said, but have you costed this? So what do you mean costed? We didn't know the difference between cost and price. Okay. So the cost is 25 rupees. No. How much does it cost? What do you mean? It costs 15 rupees to buy it and we are selling it at 25. So the cost is 25 rupees. He said, no, what's the cost of producing that? So then it struck me that we know bugger all about this. So Ranjit actually spent days trying to put everything, but there was not enough data. So the importance of data collection started becoming important. So there was this whole thing about marketing. How do you sell and how do you get the money back? And there was not enough working capital. So each one of these things started to become important. I mean, we were not understanding them.
And I think at that point is when Bablu said that, look, I mean, it was nice that you helped us with costing. Now that was a very specific problem, but looks like we have 10 such specific problems. And that's when we both started thinking that why not put together a course which can help the entire Dharani team. And the course needn't look at every possible challenge that a business would face, but at least look at the challenges that Dharani is facing. And that was really the starting point for Cream to emerge as a product or as a service for a wider market. But as we explored and started building it, then Bablu realized that, look, if I am facing this problem, so is my friend who is doing a cooperative in the northern part of the country, or somebody who is doing in Kerala. So we realized that there was a huge potential because if Dharani was struggling with such problems, so were other cooperatives, and so were other producers, and so were other NGOs. On the big laundry list, there were things about marketing. There were things about the finance, accounting, costing. There were things about working capital, operational management. So we thought that we could create a program and sort of which will borrow a standard MBA curriculum because MBA curriculum has evolved over the years and we should not discount it because it's been used for several decades and it seems to be working reasonably well. So there was not much point in reinventing the wheel. So a standard MBA curriculum did indeed become our building block on which we based the Cream philosophy. But of course, it also meant we needed to look at businesses like Dharani and figure out what the contours of the program would be, right? We can't obviously be teaching everything.
Or the staff of the cooperatives, etc., must understand what business is, at least the basics of business. Can we understand business? And of course, to most of these people, training in a business school is almost out of reach. So why can't we develop and tell these business concepts to people who are local, who don't have the capability of going to a business school? So then they started this whole thing, which took almost 6 to 8 months of building the curriculum, of which to be able to do a whole 2-year business school course, how can you compress it to something that an NGO is able to give time for, or the staff is able to give time for?
Well, one is the time, and second is also the level of absorption, right? We are compressing something into 30-40 days. We have to make sure that people who go through this course are able to absorb it. And I think that probably was the biggest challenge of Cream, which played out, I think, over the last 2 years. The additional challenge is to teach all this to a bunch of people who, as Bablu said, are coming from a background which is inherently weaker, not just economically, but from even an educational point of view. So one of the things that Bablu said that, well, if we teach, great, but we have to teach in the local language. And that really became the central point of CREAM, is that whatever we teach has to be in vernacular, because that is otherwise a barrier. And so that became as a conscious thought in our minds when we developed CREAM, that everything and anything we teach has to be bilingual, English for the comfort of the trainer and local language for the comfort of the participant. And that also meant that there was a linchpin actor who was the translator, where everything in the classroom is being translated back and forth. That particular role became crucial. So then we realized that we are starting something that is just simply not localized to Timbuktu Organic. It has a wider appeal, it probably had a wider significance, which also meant that we needed more diverse team. I mean, the whole teaching experience had to be repeated in different languages, in different contexts, in locations, because the nature of business changes as you go from, say, Andhra to Kerala. So that enriching had to happen.